Yeah. Hey, if you are watching this on Twitch right now, then we're here with Steven Koepfer. Uh,
What's up, dude?
yeah, if you don't know who he is, I'll go ahead and let him tell who he is. We've got this nice graphic up on the screen for those other people that are
Oh
looking at
God.
Twitch. So it looks cool. It's your headshot, and there's like a
Oh, okay.
there's like an alley. And
I was like, which one did you choose? Oh no. All
no,
right.
no, the
He
one it
he
looks
he,
cool.
cho- he chose the one where he was like, "Oh yeah, I have that hair like
Yeah.
20 years ago." Yeah.
No, no, no. That's what I do. Anyway, so we talked on the phone last week, and I
Yeah.
actually that I normally I that's the longest conversation I've had in like 6 months because I'm not a phone guy, which is odd because I do this shit now. So, but we,
And I am basically I'm good with the verbal diarrhea. I'll just keep talking if you let me. So
well,
it's a
perfect. That's
good
perfectly
combination.
suited to this medium. So, I mean, yeah, basically, I'd like to kind of go over some of that stuff because that's a lot of good information for people that are just on our end of things, especially that aren't in New York. We touched on what's going on up there. So
Yeah.
let's real quick for those that have no idea who you are because we've already told our groups and stuff that this is going to be a thing. So they're like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you'll love that guy. But give us a little overview of your CV, that kind of thing.
All right. So real quickly, I'm a Sambo coach. I've been running New York Combat Sambo since 2003, but I'm a lifelong martial artist. And, with background, I have a Shodan in Judo as well as my Sambo background, and then black belt in Taekwondo from when I was younger. And then, Shotokan, and I also fought back in the day, Sancho. And so me and me and Mike have a similar background, like Sancho Sambo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but so anyway, and we have the same birthday, ironically, which is crazy.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like same
yeah, we're
year?
both. No, I think maybe I'm a year ahead of him, but definitely the same day for sure.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like
still,
there,
that's like crazy rapping, random happenstance. Like it's
yeah,
like, how does that happen?
yeah, it's pretty weird. Like kung fu turned sambo guys born on the same day. Very strange. But anyway, yeah, so that's a bit about my martial art background. Lifelong martial artist, and since '99 it's been sambo, and then since 2003 I've owned a club. And then probably starting 2007 I started getting involved in television as a technical advisor for martial arts, and then worked on a few shows as an advisor, and then in 2014 got the opportunity to start working my way into the stunt business. And so now my gym now, since 2014 I've gotten into Screen Actors Guild, so I'm working in the stunt industry, at least when we're working, because right now we're not
Yeah.
really. But and then, well, actually, I had a job. I had a job Monday, first one in 9 months, and then I'm actually booked on a job Friday and Saturday too. So that's pretty cool. Things are starting to start up a little bit. So
Starting to
anyway,
pop.
there's a yeah, a little bit, a little bit. We'll see how it lasts, but it was great to. I shot a fight scene on Monday, so that was pretty good, and my body's feeling it today because it's been like 9 months since I had to fight for 6 hours straight. But
So
um,
I've been messing around with tech stuff over here on the back end. Did we say the W word yet?
W.
the W, what word?
The John Wick.
Oh, Wick. Yeah, no, we didn't yet. No, we did not. No,
Okay,
that
so
was
let's cover that because
sure.
that definitely speaks a lot to where you stand currently in the industry, and there are some exciting things on the horizon. It seems.
Yeah, so to be honest, so John Wick. I mean, I really have Sambo to thank for all of this. Like Sambo. I mean, I have Sambo to thank for so much of what's happened in my life to begin with, but specifically the television and film industry, because that Sambo is what got me in. I mean, I've always had an interest in it. I even went to, when I was a kid, I even went to camp for film school, you know, for filmmaking and stuff. I mean, it's been something I always wanted to do, but it's really Sambo that opened the door for me. And so that's what got me in touch with the 8711 guys, you know. So John Wick 1, when John Wick 1 was being made, nobody knew what it was. I didn't know what it was. And then a bunch of guys show up to my gym. So this is like 7 years ago. Looking for Russians to play bad guys in this movie, you know? And so I hooked him up with Vlad Kulikov, who actually got cast in the first John Wick. So if you're watching the first John Wick, the guy in the scene where with the priest, where they put the plastic bag over John Wick's head, and then Willem Dafoe snipes one of the Russian baddies, like that's actually Vlad getting sniped. And then so that was about the extent of it. Like, and I didn't know much else about these guys. They weren't really on my radar. I wasn't really thinking about stunts as a thing. And then when it came time for John Wick 2, the director, Chad Stahelski, called me up and he was like, hey, you know, would you want to come in and work with our guys a little bit and show them some Sambo specific kind of throws and things like that? Because like they knew in John Wick 2, what everybody learned in John Wick 3 was that they were going to eventually reveal that Wick was a Sambo guy. So I went in for a day, and it was a lot of fun, man. I mean, I sat with him for a while. He interviewed me, and then I got to work with JJ Perry, who was the stunt coordinator. And so we spent a couple hours of me just throwing this guy around. His name's Eric. He's actually a black belt under Paulson, and he's a really talented stunt guy. So he was my uke, and they basically were like, were just spitballing things for me. Okay, well, what kind of throws could you do if he had a gun in this hand? Or what kind of throws could you do if this was going on? Or they might have a throw in mind. You know, they might, because basically they know that like Keanu can basically do 4 or 5 throws really well, and they have to build choreography around what he can do.
Yeah.
So they might say like, well, he can do a Taitoshi really good, but can you show us a sort of a version where maybe this arm is incapacitated, or maybe he got, you know, whatever. They would just throw. We did this for like 3 hours, you know, and then I was done. And then, but what was really cool was, and this was all for free, you know. This was just like I was non-union, basically just like, do you feel like helping us? And I'm like, who would say no to that? You know what I mean?
Not getting paid, no SAG card.
No, it was just total networking experience, you know, getting in the room with the right people. And so after we did that, JJ said that I should feel free to come back to rehearsals and hang out and learn, you know. So I went back a bunch of times after that, like I think 3 times. You know, I watched the very beginning rehearsal with Keanu. The pencil fight scene. I saw some stuff with pencil fighting and saw how they were starting to break it down. And JJ gave me like a really cool like 3-day internship, just how they create the choreography, how they. I mean, to give you an idea, like, so for people listening, like a previs is it's basically like a video storyboard, right? So you shoot a previs. It's like it's the whole choreography with edited with some basic After Effects and post-production audio and stuff. Nothing too crazy, but to give the directors and producers an idea of what you're thinking regarding the fight. So I had done that day with them, and then I was going out to Colorado Springs Judo to teach a seminar that week. So JJ was like, well, come back next week when you're back in New York, and we'll show you what we've done. So a week later, I come back, and they literally had 30 fights choreographed, shot, and edited with post-production, sound and video and special effects and stuff. Like in a week, they did 30 fights. I mean, these guys are super badass. And then those 30 fights will go to the director, and then he'll pick like the 15 or so that he likes. And then those are the ones that they have to start teaching Keanu, you know? And then, of course, when you get on set, the fights always change also based on location and what's going on, there. But so anyway, I got to hang out for the beginning rehearsals and see how they do things. And it was really, really great experience. It built me a little bit of cred in the New York stunt community. And then by the time 3 came around, I was union, and they were going to do that big Sambo training scene. They were going to do the reveal that Wick was a Sambo guy. And so I worked about 2 months on that. Not even doing stunts. My job on that was I held 2 casting calls. I worked with the stunt coordinators. We did all the casting calls at New York Combat Sambo because I know all the Russian coaches and Eastern European coaches. So we did all the auditions at my gym. I worked with the casting directors. I worked with wardrobe to make sure that everything was authentic. I provided them lots of video reference of like actual gyms in Eastern Europe and Russia and stuff. And then I played a coach in the scene. And then finally that day I'm sitting in holding, and I hear on the walkie-talkie, I hear Chad's voice like, I need Sambo Steve out here. I need Sambo Steve on set. So I go out on set, and then he basically introduces me to the director of photography, Dan Louston, who's the guy who did Shape of Water. Oh my God, that guy is amazing. And then he's like Oscar nominated, cinematographer. And then they broke down what they were going to do in the scene. And then we had like, 20 Sambo kids of different ages, and they broke down exactly how the scene was going to work out. Angelica Houston's going to come in here. They're going to stop here. They're going to watch everybody training. And then they had the Collier brothers come in to do the big throws in the middle. And then you had the 2 guys doing grappling on either side of them, and a bunch of kids drilling in the background. So Chad literally grabbed the PA and introduced me to the PA and just told me to make it happen. Like everything that was happening in that scene, he just told me to do it. So it was a complete big trust, big trust thing. A lot of pressure, but it was cool. It was cool.
I like that they call you Sambo Steve, in real life, because we've known you for years on the forums.
We call you Sambo Steve.
It's like everybody.
I know. Dude, it's so funny. Like I can't escape that name. That came about originally, like way back in the day when I was creating an account on the Underground, and my friend Bruce, I was just sitting there. I was like, I don't know what to call myself.
We should not talk about that place, but whatever.
Is that still around?
I don't know. I don't. As you know, I haven't been on. I don't go on forums anymore. Really. Yeah. But anyway, that's how the name came about, was to create my first like early internet days for account. So, and it's stuck. So it's cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the whole Wick thing happened.
That's pretty.
So, so this is really cool, and I want to back up just a little bit because we were talking, or you specifically, were talking about, and I think this is too when they do the whole reveal with kids and everything, showing that this is the discipline from which Wick has been born, right?
Right.
So, like the interesting part of that for me is, well, I guess there's a couple of pieces now that I'm thinking about it. So, number one, like I know, like we don't want to make this entire episode about just like Sambo and like how,
sure,
yeah, right, but like who even knew what Sambo was up until that point? Like it was a very elite community of basically us that knew what Sambo was, right?
I first started Sambo. I mean, definitely now is a whole different world than like 20 plus years ago, like when really nobody knew. You know what I mean? Now it's sort of in the consciousness of martial artists, grapplers. I mean, it's still not widespread by any means. It's like it's still hard to find, like all that kind of stuff, but it's definitely a known thing now. You know what I mean? And but what was cool about the reveal in Wick 3 was that it was like To my knowledge, like not counting Russian movies, of course, but to my knowledge, for an American production, it was the first really big showcasing of Sambo as a style that exists in the world, you know. So that was pretty huge. That was pretty huge.
Yeah, and that's the way, hell of a way to come out, you know, because what was it? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's first real movie appearance was Lethal Weapon, right? That was Mel Gibson.
Definitely.
Mel Gibson, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, Mel Gibson's character was never even on the level of a badass that John Wick is built up to be. So it's kind of.
I mean, I think he kind of was, but I don't
Nah.
think he actually said Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, did he?
I mean, well, it was what's his name, Gracie? Damn it, the one that supposedly.
Oh yeah.
400.
No. So Gracie
Hickson.
was definitely technical advisor, but I don't think that in the dialogue that Mel Gibson actually called it out. As
they might not have mentioned
Brazilian.
it because that was like 88, 89, right? That was way before UFC 1. And then, well, so the first Sambo guy in the UFC, right? That was that Oleg?
Yeah, Oleg. Well, actually, not really. It's actually Free Kamaker, but he didn't make it to the. Free Kamaker was in UFC 2. He was a Dutch guy, Dutch Sambo guy.
Okay.
And he won his preliminary match, his preliminary fight, but got injured and couldn't move on to the main televised one.
Yeah.
But if you look on YouTube, or if you have the VHS like I do, that you recorded yourself when you were, you know, you can see. Remember, they would do like the little style breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like, this is karate, this is Sambo, and you can see him doing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can see the Sambo description. But he didn't make it to the televised UFC. But technically, he's the first Sambo guy in UFC.
Okay.
But the first one that everybody else saw that and won, of course, is Oleg Taktarov. Yeah.
Yeah. That dude was a beast at the time. Yeah. And
but
then
to
now,
be fair, you know what I mean. I always make this distinction for people like regarding Wick. His character is a Sambo guy, but what he does is entirely a mix of tons of different things. You know what I mean? Like, the choreography is not Sambo. It's just whatever looks good.
Yeah, and it's 80% guns too. So that's, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I think what they've done is really give it a certain kind of flair. You know, what they call gun fu.
Yeah.
But that flair is a very Sambo feeling flair. You know, I mean, it's very similar to. I remember when I walked into my coach Alex Barakov's club for the first time, and you know, I was just coming from Sancho, and I saw all these things like rolling knee bars and flying arm bars and scissor takedowns, and it just blew my mind. I had never seen anything so acrobatic, and I feel like a lot of viewers had that same feeling when they saw the first Wick movies. You know, when they saw the first Wick. And they were like, holy cow, like, I've never seen fighting like that. That's how I felt when I walked into my first Sambo class, you know? Even though, like, Hollywood, you know, I mean, 8711, they juiced it up so much for Hollywood, but it still has that same kind of feeling for me. Even if they're doing some Aikijitsu and some Judo and some Sambo and some BJJ and just throwing in, you know, tactical work and everything else. It just feels like Sambo to me.
Yeah.
You know, so they were successful with that.
Yeah. Those movies are great. So I want to get back to this because we had this in when we talked on the phone. But what the hell's going on in New York City right now?
on what front?
Like,
on what front?
All of them.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm preparing for the Civil War, bro. That's what I'm preparing for. No, seriously, it's like, you know. I don't know. I mean, listen, my gym is in Midtown Manhattan, right? And Manhattan right now, last statistic I read, only 8% of the workforce that left has come back, right? So it's still pretty empty, you know, and you know, there's all these factors affecting the city that are conjoining to create this disaster in the making that I don't even think we've seen the worst of it. Like, you know, it'll be a while before we see the worst of it. But I mean, you've got the highest number of residential vacancies in the city that's been recorded since they've been recording it for like 25 years, right? At the same time, you've got all these people leaving. Then you've got all these people out of work, right? Then on top of that, you've got tons of homeless on the street. It's actually really sad because the shelters had to kick so many people out because they can't pack them in like they used to because of COVID, right? So now you've got all these hotels being rented by the city to become shelters, right? So now you've got all these homeless people getting kicked off the trains, going in to live in these hotels and stuff, and then with nowhere, you can't stay in the shelter all day, so they, in theory, they're supposed to be out, looking for jobs and doing whatever, but everything's closed, or there's nothing there. Like public bathrooms are closed. You're not allowed on the trains, so you're getting like these. Some parts of the city remind me very much of the West Coast with like tent cities and stuff.
Shit.
And then you've got like in a noticeably different level of the amount of mentally ill people on the street, homeless, mentally ill, because the psych ERs, just like the shelters and just like everything else, have to cut their numbers. So like let's say you had a 20-bed psych ER, but now you can only take 10 because you have to keep them distanced, right? So now they're only taking the most critical psych cases. So you've got added unmanaged mentally ill on the streets. Then you've got the bail reform, right? And then you've got the prisons letting people out early, Yeah. So this is all becoming like the guy that just derailed. I don't know if you guys, that are not in New York are aware, this guy, this mentally ill homeless guy just derailed a subway downtown by Union Square.
Was that today?
He found some, and so like he basically found in an MTA
construction material and
and put it on the tracks and then just sat there laughing about it like it was like literally the headline in the Daily News was like out of the beginning phases of Gotham City. The headline said, "Laughing saboteur derails train." It's like laughing saboteur.
That's the Daily News though. Like that is
I know it's
like that's everything that they do, right? So
and it's sensationalized. I get it, but what I'm saying is the fact that the culture, it's like it's in the culture now. Like we've got crazy laughing people derailing trains.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like this guy was arrested 3 weeks ago for smashing the windows of subway cars and let back on the street because of jail reform and overcrowding in the jails and all the other stuff. So
yeah. And not to mention the cops are pissed off at everybody because, the good ones are getting lumped in with the bad and,
Yeah.
I mean, the cops is a whole different situation. We're talking about, when in today's current environment, when we're talking about, the problems that we have with our civil police force, the two biggest civil police forces that exist are New York City and Los Angeles County.
Yeah, we've got 35,000 cops.
Isn't it like the second or the fifth largest army in the world or something, technically?
Exactly. Like Los Angeles County is larger than like 30% of all countries on the planet.
And
well, no, I'm talking about like military-wise. If the cops in New York City were a military unit, it would.
Oh yeah. So my point there is that NYPD is only slightly than that. So we're talking about a force of people that are supposed to be enforcing laws that the number of people on the force actually is bigger than many countries. I don't know. We're maybe getting off.
Yeah. Well, look, this is all just to say that things are getting pretty crazy here, right? So it's like, it's just going to get worse after the election. I'm sure it will get worse no matter how the election turns out. I don't really see good scenarios coming out of this election. And then I'm really afraid what's going to happen when the moratorium on evictions is lifted, Because there are literally people here that as soon as that's lifted, they're out on the streets, and there's a lot of people, you know. And the city's just not going to fill up like it used to. Like even the workforce, you know, so 8% of the workforce has come back. A bunch of the others have left the city, and a bunch of the others have been told, and their companies have realized, well, we don't really need you in the office. You're just as productive at home, you know, working remotely. So you've got less of your rank and file residential working class people in the city, but you've got more other people on the street, less preferable people on the street. And so it's, you know, it's crazy. Like I was telling when we were talking, when Frost and I were talking on the phone the other day, it was like, you know, I basically am only teaching private and semi-private classes distanced, you know, so they're very small, and like most martial arts schools, so like a lot of my people are recreational, you know, but it becomes pretty crazy out here at night. Like so I don't want to have classes very late into the evening hours at my gym because I just don't want my students traveling into the city at that time, you know. So that alone is affecting my business, you know. It's crazy, you know. I mean, I'm glad that I'm still open and surviving. You know, there's a lot of gyms that didn't, or that closed, you know, smartly so probably. Why pay rent for a place you're not using?
Yeah.
I was lucky. I had a good landlord that really helped me out with that, but not a lot of people had that, you know.
Do you know if some of the schools are dealing with that? They have like they can get out of leases because of this? 'Cause I have no idea how that storefront thing works in the era of COVID.
Some of them, well, I don't know. Like my landlord was very, very cool. I know other people that got out of their leases that were due to renew during this time, so they had that moment. You know, they're like, "Screw this! I'm not renewing my lease now."
Yeah.
And then I know other people that just broke the lease, and I think the landlords probably aren't going to complain about it because they're not getting their money anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so they'd rather just have a vacant place where they can take advantage with tax. You know, like if you have vacant space, there's tax advantages for you. So I think like I know somebody who left their apartment before the lease was up and basically said to the landlord, "Listen, we've been paying you this whole time," whereas other people have been screwing their landlords.
Yeah.
Let us out of the lease. And the guy was like, "Yeah, no problem, dude." You know?
Yeah. Because you hear about the evictions and that's kind of hanging over everybody's head, but man, that's a whole different side of it. If you can get out responsibly to just be let out of a lease, because some people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on that side, there's like now the consolidation of property, which is a whole different thing that we haven't even begun to really talk about yet, right?
Well, if I had the means, I mean, my landlord at where the club is asked me if I wanted a bigger space because, you know, people have left the building and the people that are staying are moving around, so the space directly adjacent to my space is going to be vacant after the end of the year or close to the end of the year. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not doubling my size right now. Are you kidding me? But there are people who could afford to do that, you know, and probably negotiate really good rates, you know. So it's like,
right. Well, so I mean, like if you had the like pocket cash to be able to invest in that sort of thing, kind of.
Sure.
Like, I mean, not like you're going to open up a business and make it bigger, but you know, obviously there is some consolidation going on because people are in exodus mode.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, do you think people are going to flood back into the city after this, or is it going to be a trickle, or I mean, is New York just broken?
No, I don't buy that.
No,
New York is. Come on, we've from the birth of New York City, we've been under fire. I mean, that's it. You know, it's like British. You know, you can start all the way back from the Dutch to the British. Like people have been trampling through New York City, and New York City's been up and down since New York City started, since it was New Amsterdam. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just in the DNA of the city.
Yeah.
I mean, the city's not going to go anywhere. I'm not saying it's going to be wonderful. I mean, look what happened to places like Detroit and other when industry left. I'm sure New York is going to have easy like 5 to 10 years, like a decade of really rough times coming up economically.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so it's going to come back, of course.
My contribution on that is that Frost should know better because we literally sing songs.
Oh, are you talking about Hamilton? Is this a Hamilton reference? I mean, it's not like we're sitting there singing songs together. Let's get that straight. We'll bring up lyrics in the friggin' Discord once in a while, but we're not like holding hands and like doing show tunes.
I want to see you doing some Hamilton, man. I want to see Frost doing Hamilton.
Dude, we should.
God. No, that would be.
Oh no, yeah.
I almost have a reputation.
You two need to do the whole number where they're counting down the rules of a duel. That's what you guys need to do.
It's the 10 duel commandments. Yeah.
Number 9. Yeah. All right. So, actually, I wanted to go back to something we mentioned earlier, or that you mentioned earlier, was that I think it was on Wick 2, maybe it was on Wick 3, but they went and made like 30 different scenes as demo reel kind of stuff, and then you pick the 15. So I want to know more about that, because that is really interesting to me. That like, hey, here's the stuff that we did, and here's the stuff that we picked, and so
I wasn't really a big part of that process for Wick. I've been part of that process for other productions, which I could tell you about, but it's like, I mean, you have to remember, like, J.J. Perry and Chad Stahelski and all those guys at A711 are very high-level martial artists, I mean, most people don't know this, but if you go over to Eric Paulson's gym, and you look on the walls of all his old pictures when he was in Japan fighting Shudo and stuff, his roommate fighting in Japan was Chad Stahelski, the director of John Wick. Like, he's a legit fighter, Him and David Leitch and all those guys, they're all tied in together, in Eric Paulson, and they're all tied in back to the early days of that time when like that really cool time, when like sort of MMA style stuff was starting to come up with like Shudo and everything. So Chad's like a legit fucking martial artist, man. When you take his class, like and this is the other cool thing, like if you're invited to go train at 8711, Chad himself still, as big and famous as he is now, he still teaches 3 classes every morning, like 3 classes a week every morning if he's not away on a film. He'll be exhausted and come in and still teach a 2-hour class that they call like the judo class, which is really more appropriate name would probably be like the jacket throwing, grappling, fun stuff class, because it's not just judo. It's just like whatever. It's like fight choreography class kind of, but it's a hard ass class. And then if you're really lucky, like I was lucky enough to be invited to train with Chad, like to come to his personal morning workout. Like it's usually like from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that. And like one morning it was just me, Chad, and Daniel Bernhard. It was like, how cool is that? I'm like sitting here. And these guys work out so hard, bro. And it's like, and then right after that is Chad's class. And then right after that is a BJJ class. And then after 6 hours, you're exhausted. And I'm like, I'm done. I'll see you later, guys. And all those young bucks that are still there are like, all right, open mat time, let's go. I'm like, oh my god, you guys are insane. I mean,
guys. Yep.
But the way the fight stuff works, I mean, that's just to say that these guys really know what they're doing. So like, I remember when I was in the office being interviewed by Chad for Wick 2, he's on the phone with J.J. Perry on a different floor of the building, just calling out techniques. He's like, in my mind, they're doing Teguruma to this, to that. And he's just going, bah, 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 bah. They're doing all this. He goes, make sure you throw, Sumagaeshi in there after the, like whatever. And he's just throwing the shit out of his head. Like it's all in his head. It's amazing. Yeah. And then, JJ's on the other floor, like building the choreography with the guys, So like the closest experience that I have, because I was not part of that experience with Wick. I just got to watch it, which was really cool. Like to watch the very beginning phase of it.
Yeah.
Because the day that I came back after we shot all the throws with me was like Keanu's first day in rehearsal, right? So like I was there at the very, very beginning, and then I didn't see anything until I was invited to the wrap party to see the film, like for cast and crew, like to the cast and crew premiere rather.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing,
Yeah.
But like with Ray Donovan, for example, like I worked all of season 6 on Ray Donovan as Eddie Marson's double. And there were like a lot, for anybody who watches that, there was like a lot of underground bare knuckle fights in that season. And so basically the process kind of, at least with Doc Duhame, who is the stunt coordinator for Ray Donovan, season 6 and 7, the way it worked with him anyway was, unlike TV is very different than movies, by the way. Movies, you have tons of rehearsal time. TV is very fast. You're lucky if you get rehearsal time. So like with Ray Donovan, we got like 2 rehearsal days per fight, which is pretty good, which is actually really generous in television land. Like the bar fight scene in season 6 of Ray Donovan, it was like a 4-on-3 bar fight. We did that. The whole stunt crew shows up 2 hours pre-call before everybody else. And with the stunt coordinator, we choreographed the fight right there. And then you show the director what you did for the last 2 hours, and they yay or nay it or make some changes. And then you sit around for another 12 hours till they finish doing all the dramatic stuff. And then on hour 16, you're like, all right, now we got to record the fight. You're exhausted because you've been sitting around all day. So sometimes TV, you just are doing it on the spot, But for the bare knuckle fights, we had like 2 days of rehearsal. So like basically we would get the pages of script that would give us something to go on. Like Doc would send us the sides, it's called. We read that, and then we come in for first day rehearsal. Usually first day rehearsal would be like myself, the antagonist, stunt performer, and Doc. And Doc would have an idea of what he views for this fight, right? Based on the script and his own creativity and stuff. And then like for example, the first one we worked on, like Tim Lachik was the bad guy. So those guys, people don't know him, D1 wrestler, early UFC days. I mean, he's like a real fighter, right? So he had some really great input regarding doing bare knuckle fights, And then so we would literally sit in the rehearsal room looking at bare knuckle fights on the laptop, and then we come up with the fight and rehearse it and record it. And then so a very rudimentary type of previs, right? That gets sent to production. They say, yes, we like it. No, we don't like it. Then the second rehearsal, the actor comes, in this case, Eddie Marson, and we teach him the fight. And then the third day is the actual day. So in the beginning, we didn't know, like the life of a stunt double is oftentimes more of this kind of stuff than being actually on film, especially if you have an actor that can perform. So like my bigger role was helping teach him the fights and, helping Doc with whatever he needed with the choreography and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we did that over and over again. That was pretty much the system. You read the script, get together on the first day, create the fight. Then second day, teach the actor the fight. Then the third day is on set.
Yeah, and you've also worked with MCU stuff too. Like, was it on Punisher or was it a Daredevil one? I forget.
Yeah, I was a cop in Punisher. I mean, I was basically just like nothing fancy, just like a day player, running around with a gun.
Well, that's still pretty cool. I think I remember seeing a screenshot of something from there. I was like, that's awesome. I mean,
yeah, I actually had dialogue with John Bernthal, but they cut it out. So.
Oh, fuck. You can't get a hold of that tape because that'd be cool.
Never. No
Oh,
way.
yeah, I know.
That would be cool.
That's not how that works, but still.
I was nervous as shit though. That was only my second job ever.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
It was not scripted dialogue. It's improv. They're like, just do cop stuff. Tell him to get down, put his hands up. Like, just improv stuff. Just don't drop the F-bomb.
Yeah. Netflix. But yeah. So it seems like they're trying to. I mean, we grew up. We went through the '80s where everything was a damn action movie and everybody knew martial arts of some sort, and Jean-Claude Van Damme and that crap. But in the era of the UFC, it seems like for a while there really weren't a lot of straight like fighting based movies until was John Wick really? You think that was like a spearhead of the revival or that
John Wick? Really?
I haven't paid attention. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's.
I think probably the what's his name? Jeez, is pre John Wick.
The fat guy.
No. Matt Damon. Matt, come on.
Yeah. The Bourne
movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, the Bourne movies were great. Yeah.
I think they were.
I'm going before then. Like I'm talking about like fat Russian lover guy, Steven.
Seagal. No, because he's just been making shit.
Because
he's been making garbage.
That was like his entire repertoire was making up like martial arts movies that had no bearing on reality.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about actually good movies, and because action was either like superhero shit for a minute or whatever.
Is subjective.
No. What I'm saying is not like A-list movies, not like B, D, F, or R movies like Seagal's crap, like the Bourne, Bourne Multiplicity, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
those kinds. That was like a Screama or Kali or something. That was I mean, but more of a martial arts focused film, and it didn't seem like there was like a lull in them until. The Wick series, and I would like to see more of it because now we know what fighting's supposed to look like.
So I wouldn't. So here, like this is the weird part. So, like I wouldn't consider the Bourne movies to be martial arts movies.
There's a lot of
just movies that like he could also kick some ass, right?
Yeah.
The same goes for like Bond or like anything in that genre. Yeah, definitely.
James Bond.
I don't know. There's, I think Wick definitely was like sort of a genre changer, for sure. Like in the same way that The Matrix was, like it definitely created a shift in the culture of screen fighting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the point that I was getting at. Is like now, like. Even 20 years ago, 10 years ago as much, people really didn't know what fighting, they knew movie fighting, but because of the UFC, because of MMA in general, they have a vague idea what real fight looks like between two people that know what the hell they're doing, sans weapons, of course, and with gloves. But, so that, now that we know that, and we have an era of movies where people are expecting to see better fight scenes, better choreography, stuff that looks like it could really work in real life.
So. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, like if you talk, like for me, I had that reaction. I got to go to a press screening for Warrior, right?
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, the two brothers, right?
Yeah.
And that first scene in the MMA gym was just awesome. I was like, that is like such good fight choreography, like legit, like looks like an MMA like sparring fight, with ego. It was just like. It was good, and ironically, it was also J.J. Perry choreographed that. Same guy that did Wick 2. Yeah. But it's just obviously you have a more educated audience. They know what they're looking at better than the old days. Than like what do you call it? Like a John Wayne punch or something like that,
the big looping haymaker that you can tell doesn't connect, or Luke Skywalker's kick, where he doesn't even come anywhere near the guy, but you just like whatever. But yeah, it's kind of like with war movies. There's a whole generation that went to Iraq and Afghanistan and came back. They're not gonna believe this corny shit that they got away with in the 80s on films.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's got their finger pointed correctly, and it's not on the trigger as they're moving. Trigger discipline. That's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, trigger discipline is
that's like somebody was talking about. Oh, damn it! Who was Megan Fox was in some movie, right? And this was actually I was doing drill with the Army, and they're like she was in an action film where she was some special forces badass apparently somehow, I don't know, alternate universe.
Yeah,
but
all right.
So I've never seen it, but they were just making fun of her because every time she went around the corner, she'd pop up her elbow and look side, and they're like, she has one move and she does it the whole damn movie. But I just it's hilarious how like real life has gotten it, because you're right, people have a higher standard of expectation for what looks real. So
yeah, they do, and that's great. And I don't know if this is somewhat a theory of mine, but I think like the further you go back in like film history, you just feel like, so if you take a look at the difference between, let's say, stage combat and screen combat, right? Like the audience expectations are very different. Stage in a play, like if you go to see Shakespeare or some play where there's a sword fight or a fight or whatever, the audience isn't entirely really expecting it to look real.
Yeah.
And they understand that that this fight is part of the storytelling, the delivery of the story to them. And which is also true in film. Like the fight entirely should respect the story, not the other way around. But it's like the audience in theater doesn't expect that punch to look real.
Yeah.
They only have to learn the fight to one angle. They don't have to do it 50 times from the camera here and the camera there and whatever. And plus they like have to do it twice a day, 6 days a week or whatever,
Yeah.
So you have to have it the safest as possible. And I just feel like earlier movies feel like that to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like the expectation was a little closer to like theater expectations for fights. Like I think the audience was okay with it looking like, oh, that punch didn't really sell, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, if we look at like Lee movie, like,
we missed the part where you said Bruce Lee, but I'm inferring that from the
yeah.
So yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
Bruce Lee was still a step up from the stuff that they had before, because he started, arguably started the whole wave of martial arts films in the first place. So.
Oh yeah. Well, he was a game changer.
So that was a game changer, and then we've had additional game changers over the years. I would argue Jackie Chan has been a huge game changer for a couple of different reasons, right? So he's
the
he's
stunt
a very
end of things,
stuntman, but he's also got this comedic style to him.
Well, and the other thing that he did that, let's say, because coming on the heels of Bruce Lee, let's say, Jackie Chan, very much like Wick and stuff, but was like a hero that would allow himself to get beat up. He wasn't the hero that was untouchable. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't Jackie Chan.
Like I know this is not what you're talking about, but if you go into some of like the outtakes and like the how many times he just got completely destroyed.
I'm surprised that guy doesn't have serious issues, like lingering injuries, and he's just.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does, man.
How
He's
does he
broken
even
like
move?
every bone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't
so
know.
anyway, that was
like,
one of the things. Yeah. Go ahead, continue.
No. He was definitely a step forward in like evolution for sure, And the Matrix too. It ushered in that Hong Kongy kind of martial arts stuff.
So John Woo was gonna be exactly my next point. So.
Oh, John Woo, yeah, like Hard Boiled. When we were thinking of when we were talking about like gunfights and stuff, I was thinking of Hard Boiled and The Killer and stuff like that. But I mean, there's so many evolutionary moments, And Wick is only the most recent one, and I mean, already and I haven't talked about it with anybody over there, but I feel like I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in 4 because the fights are starting to all look the same to me. And that could just be an insider's view or somebody who's looking at it with the, like I'm trying to dissect the fights and see what they're doing and stuff. And they've got this brilliant formula that they're able to take an actor and train them like crazy for 6 months and be able to put together an amazing fight. So it's always better if the actor can do it themselves, But like one of my small pet peeves about Wick 3 is that essentially Halle Berry's character and John Wick fight exactly the same. And like that's because they're trained the same,
Yeah.
But and this is like really nitpicky, but I'm like, okay, she's an assassin born and raised and trained in Africa. He is an assassin born and raised and trained, in the former Soviet culture. Like they shouldn't be fighting the same. They should have different styles,
That's a good criticism,
But,
yeah. I mean, I
I
don't think the audience picks up on that.
Moves.
But I mean, because you, obviously are an insider expert and stuff. But I don't think the audience, they're just like, ooh, whoa, Halle Berry kicking ass, woo, But that's cool.
Well, the thing is, like the addition to the Halle Berry fights, which was insanely good, was the dogs, and so her use of the dogs as a tool in her fights, did make it different. But in terms of what she herself was doing, it was the same stuff.
Fair, fair.
I think the next,
Somebody from the comments, because we have the stream, the chat that's going.
Cool.
Johnny Cash. Yeah,
I should probably be looking.
Yeah, Nighthawk's podcast. He actually legit film critic. So he's like, I'm gonna read directly. The film of the era that gets slept on is what is it? Oh, from Hong Kong is the 2000 era Crouching Tiger and all that.
Oh yeah.
Because
because that was another Hong Kong movie that was really big for American audiences, right?
And nobody had seen anything like that before. I mean, that's fairly typical of, a lot of that genre over there. People flying around rooftops and stuff. I think there's an actual term for it that I've forgotten now, but for that style. But yeah, it's just that was more of a artistic, the fights, the Tai Chi sword and all that crap. That was a whole different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's spot on. That opened up the eyes of American audiences for sure.
And now everything's just global and it's all being homogenized. I won't say I rented Mulan, but I watched Mulan, so I'll let people figure out what that means. But yeah, so it felt like just any other movie, and I know it's an American-made movie basically, but damn, I was expecting some of that a little bit of the Crouching Tiger kind of influence because it's a little bit, it's not an American story.
Right. Exactly. It's not an American story.
Oh, did we lose him? I think we lost his audio.
Oh, we lost him.
Words.
There we go.
Words.
Yeah, gotcha.
Words.
Yeah.
He's back.
So,
he's back.
yeah, Mulan was, totally stolen story because Disney. Duh.
Yeah, I didn't see Mulan.
No, it's not worth the time. I mean, they
right.
I wasn't going to pay for
I'm thinking more of like the Eat Man. So that has been a continually growing franchise, right?
Oh, that did come back, didn't it? That was a thing. I skipped all those because, I mean, it's Wing Chun. Come on now.
So, like, the first two were, like, actually pretty, right? But we're effectively talking about the same thing where we have this style that people don't know that makes it scintillating and interesting to watch, regardless of his efficacy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between Wing Chun and Sambo is that Sambo actually works in a fight, and Wing Chun might look good in movies. And yeah, we're going back to our roots here, just like.
Okay, so just in kind of a defense of the Wing Chun people, not a total defense. But I've had Wing Chun guys, join my gym and start playing with us. And one thing I will say, because of their inline, center line striking style, They do adapt really well to grip fighting.
Yes.
I will say that.
No, and you know what? I don't think I mentioned this very much, but I did Wing Chun for about a year. And I have found that when you're trying to fend off people's hands and stuff, some of those principles actually work. You want to get, to move people's arms out of the way or to trap their arms and all that crap. That works. I mean, if I was in a phone booth, I'd probably use a little bit of Wing Chun.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, I believe there's something useful in everything, even the crappiest stuff. You just have to figure out how to use it, That's all.
And you have to not suck in general as a human being, so.
Right, and then you get a big shirt with a big blue shirt with a red S on it.
Yeah, well, if you're a badass, you're a
badass. Back to kind of like not game changer things, but like I'll be honest, I didn't watch the Ip Man stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Not me.
You know what I mean? But it's like the gunfight stuff and everything, like there's a scene in Tom Cruise, Collateral.
Okay.
Did you guys see that?
I did see that.
That's a good.
That gets a lot of respect from the firearms community too.
Yeah, I was gonna say the briefcase scene is like real good. It's like John Wick before John Wick, or just like really good gunfight.
Yeah, he Mozambiques somebody in that, right? Two to the chest, one to the head, somewhere in there. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, that movie. Like, I think there are a lot of movies that go under the radar like that one. Like you said, like the firearms community is aware of it.
Yeah.
But I think like the general viewing audience isn't necessarily consciously aware. They just saw really good tactical work, really good gun work.
Yeah.
But for people paying attention, it was that shit was on point. That was really good.
Yeah, it's like the difference between a $100 steak at a top tier restaurant and Outback Steakhouse. Some people will be able to tell the difference, and some people don't really care enough. So,
yeah.
Well, so this is what I was trying to say with like Jackie Chan and stuff like that. Like, obviously the storylines and whatever's going on in whoever wrote this complete tripe is ridiculous, right? But he has like a solid foundation in martial arts with which to be able to prosecute these scenes that he needs to get done on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, man. It's a weird thing. Like I've seen a lot of it's like over the last couple of years I've been able to start, a little bit working with actors and training them and stuff. And it's like, and I'm not talking about big now. I'm just talking about actors that are trying to add to their toolbox, like unknown people, but they know that to be an actor today, you have to know how to fight a little bit. You have to know how to handle a gun a little bit. Like it's just a prerequisite now, and because action is becoming the main thing, at least for mass market stuff. And it's like it's like I this is what I say to people. I say it's better to have a foundation in real fighting skill and have to unlearn things to make it good for the screen than to have no foundation in fighting skill and start from scratch. That's my personal, because there are a lot of people who just go right to screen fighting, and some of them do it really well. But I just feel like if you go down the list of your favorite screen fighters, most of them, if not all of them, have some kind of legit training. You know what I mean? Like it's just their body awareness is better, their understanding of the technique is better. Even though, like, if I were to throw, a hook for the screen, it's never the way I would throw a hook, in a real fight.
No.
But I understand what it feels like to throw a hook,
That's a total softball for me because I wanted to somehow bring Judo Gene into this conversation.
Well, we've got Sambo Steve, so he's kind of filling in the guy. I mean,
Judo Gene is...
They're like the same guy. Yeah?
No, I mean...
No, not at all.
This is the evolution. You're the next...
I aspire to be like that guy. He's my aspiration.
Yeah, that dude is a... And we're not going to reference the Steven Seagal story because we've done it like 3 times on this podcast already. And
everybody knows it.
yeah, everybody who needs to know it knows it, and anybody who doesn't want, whatever. We don't care about you. So, but yeah, oh my god, that's great. I did. There is a sort of a parody. I mean, and at least us, and we're biased towards, we think highly of you, but yeah. So there's the judo gene
or a parody.
Parity, Parity. So
okay, just making sure.
Not parody, but no. There's a
parody, right?
But between the judo gene and the Sambo Steve, so I mean, and like I said, we're biased, but yeah. So I definitely hope that ends up being a thing, and then 50 years from now, you're still doing this shit, being old as dirt. And, everybody's like, oh, man, I talked to that guy on my podcast. So
I hope so, man. Yeah. Yo, for anybody who hasn't read it, you should definitely read Josh Gross's Ali versus Inoki book. So good. Yeah. And it's essentially like an unofficial Gene LeBell biography.
Yeah.
And history of MMA and catch wrestling, and it's just such a great book. But Gene LeBell is such a huge part of that book.
Yeah. Well,
and it talks about his stunt career and it's just everything. It's such a great book. I read the book almost in one sitting. It was just so good.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. He was behind so much stuff, and people that don't know, they don't know, and they should, because man, he's a legend.
He's doing stunts on the Jack Parr show.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, It's like, I mean, the guy's...
He was doing stunts before there was color TV, I think. Like...
Yeah, for sure, man. He's he's a founding member of Stunts Unlimited, right? Which is like one of the biggest, oldest teams. Not the oldest, but one of the oldest. Like the International Stuntmen's Association was before them. And just like martial arts, right? Like a bunch of those guys, I believe, left ISA and started Stunts Unlimited. It's like factions. It's no different than the rest of life. But like anybody who's watched Hooper, Burt Reynolds should know who Stunts Unlimited is. Like that's everybody. That's like Hal Needham, that whole crew, Stunts Unlimited, and Gene LeBell is one of the original founding members of them. The guy's a legend, man.
He is. So like you can't you throw a like a piece of paper at the wall, and you will find a movie that Gene LeBell was in, either as a stunt person or as a stunt coordinator or as a stunt consultant. It's amazing how much stuff that he's done.
I should look him up right now on IMDb. How many credits he has? It's probably off the charts.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's cool. I remember like when I met him in first time in like '98. Like when I competed up at his tournament in Toronto, the Gene LeBell World Grapplers Challenge, and I won my first match. And he came over and congratulated me, and I was like, "Oh my god, Gene LeBell, man!" I was like, I don't get fanboyish often, but that was just too cool.
Yeah, I think anybody would. We got a comment from the chat. Let's see. That's directly to you. Is that John Wick movies need more Vladislav Sergeyevich Kulikov? Man, I fucking suck at Russian names.
Vlad Kulikov, yeah. Except he got killed in the first one, so that's it.
Oh, well.
It's called being burned.
It's not that kind of movie.
Although, if you're, if you're in with them, then they'll bring you back, but you can't look like somebody that just died, especially in TV.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing the math here. If that guy got killed in the first one, we're not likely to see him again.
It's not that kind of franchise.
Yeah. He's dead.
Wait till John Wick 17 when they start, getting weird with zombies and shit. I don't know. That'd be cool. I'm down.
No. Keep all the superheroes away.
No, honestly,
can we just have like an honest, super cool martial arts spy dude, and not make him
he's just a dude.
Blood that's derived.
It's the world that goes fucking crazy.
Ancient fucking aliens.
I'm into
Batman.
I'm into the absurdity, so I'm down if they just want to keep making these Fast and Furious movies. If there's just gonna run, it's gonna be John Wick, with a walker, in 2050, you know, and just John Wick with a hover around motor scooter kind of, you know, thing beating up people in Walmart. I'm okay with that because, yeah, I'll watch them all.
Because you'll
be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you know Groot. You don't know. I'm not sure if you are aware, but so they're going to film John Wick 4 and 5 simultaneously and just release them as 2 separate movies.
Yeah.
But
they did. So I saw that actually, and so I told that to Frost and said, "Hey, this is actually pretty interesting. Like they're going like back to back on this.
Yeah,
they're slamming down. So
they've got an agreement on tap with Stars to do the Continental TV series.
Oh shit!
Based on the underground assassin world.
That's a great premise.
The whole Continental world. Yeah.
I mean, the setting is a little bit wild, but I mean, I will suspend the shit out of disbelief because I think it's cool and there's not too much out there like it. It's almost comic booky, but not. So I'm okay with it. And
so I'm more excited about a Continental TV series, honestly, than more movies. I just feel like maybe I don't know this by any means, but it would be really cool if these last 2 movies just set up the series, you know?
Yeah, or because I mean tie in.
Yeah, because it's so rich, like you said, it's so rich if you go into the that universe, that underground assassin universe. Like you could there's endless stories there.
Yeah, and there's so much room for like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever ranked assassins in the world to, you know, to show their stuff. Maybe they can even have a formal ranking system or whatever. And then, you know, obviously, you know, at the top of it is, you know, the guy. Sure. But I mean, yeah, because I want to know who those guys are. I want to see them scramble to see who's the 2nd best. Because that'd be rad.
Yeah, totally. By the way, I just looked up. LaBelle has 249 stunt credits and 149 actor credits on IMDb.
15,000 injuries.
Yeah. That's just the ones that are on IMDb. He's probably got another 100 easy that are not on here, you know.
Yeah, damn. He was on Reno 911, right? He was in there doing shit too. That guy's everywhere. I swear he had an episode there, but well, hey man,
dude, his hair is still red. Yeah, but anyway, it sounds like you're trying to finalize this.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up. I don't want to take much more of your time, and hopefully you're not still downtown right now.
No, I'm at home, man. I'm at home.
Good,
I got I'm chilling, and then I got to teach tomorrow, and then Friday and Saturday I actually am booked for more stunt work. So, you know. Yeah,
Matt Foster just pointed out that Gene LaBelle was on the Adam West Batman show. So.
Oh my God.
I know.
The other guy that you want to look at, Charlie Percini. I've never met him, but he's also way back and still working. He was the stunt coordinator for Die Hard, right? Oh, but he started out as, also a stunt performer. He was on the original Star Trek and Batman and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's just so much history there. I wish more people knew about it. So, what they need is a TV series about the stunt community, and not like a corny ass reality show with drama, but like
that's exactly
an in-depth one.
We need to know.
That's like
they exist, but just not on a high level production. There's I think it's called Stunt Tales. You can look it up on YouTube. It's free.
Yeah,
they sit down and interview the the vets. It's really great information. I get addicted. I love that stuff. That's how I know all this old history stuff because I just into it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's incumbent upon newer people in the community to learn that stuff. You know, like who was telling me, or I heard an interview. I don't know if it was told to me in person or an interview, and I don't even remember the stunt coordinator that told me, but he said that when a young stunt performer comes to hustle him, because that's how we get work. I mean, not anymore in the days of COVID, but usually, we don't have agents. So you go to sets and you introduce yourself to the coordinators or whatever. And then he'll ask them, ask them, who is Hooper, you know,
Yeah.
and then they'll think Hooper is a real person. They don't, you know, and that's how we can tell, you know. It's like, do you know who Hal Needham is, and that he directed Hooper, and that Burt Reynolds was in there, and that like everybody in that movie is from Stunts Unlimited, you know.
Yeah.
It's
an actual guild.
All those. Yeah. No, you have to know that stuff, you know. I think I just think it's important to know it, you know.
Yeah.
So all the interviews and like books, there's a couple of good books, like you know, Hal Needham's autobiography is great, and then if you read the Armstrong family, like Andy Armstrong, who is like a legend stunt coordinator and also performer, obviously when he was younger, and then Vic Armstrong, his brother, who was like Harrison Ford's double in the Indy movies, and you know, and now their son is James Armstrong, who's a big time BJJ guy, who is the coordinator for Fear the Walking Dead. It's like, so there's these generations of families in the business, you know. It's like I think it's important to know that stuff, even if you never work with them or meet them or anything. I mean, it's the shoulders upon which we stand, you know.
Yeah, you gotta prove that you belong there, and I'm all for that. We've lost a lot of that.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of that spirit in America. I mean, because everybody's got a job and they got the little spot in it, but nobody has a trade. You know, people have jobs, they have careers, they just don't have a trade. You know, they're not like experts at that in a way that they love it. You know, it's a thing. They're not artisans of their craft. Yeah.
And just like martial arts, you know, I am such a new person in this industry. Like, my skill set is very
what? You're
in the film industry.
New
the film industry?
What?
Yeah, I am, man. I'm a rookie.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, like in film. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I'm talking about the stunt business. You know? There's so much I don't know. There's like 10 times more of what I don't know how to do than what I do know how to do. But that's what's so exciting about it, is like every time I get a job, you know, I learn something new. Like my first wire gig, the first time I've trained a lot on a wire, right? Like with poles and stuff like that. But I had never done one on film until last year, which actually premieres next week. Save Yourselves, the sci-fi movie. It premieres on October 2nd in theaters, if you're in a place where you can do that. And then video on demand on October 6th.
Oh, crap.
So
okay.
you can see me get killed. You see me get killed by an alien in that. But it's a really cool wire pull.
You'll have to let us know the timestamp on that so that we can just fast forward through the movie and, you know.
No, you got to see the whole movie.
No.
I know, but I mean, I'll want to stop it and be like, hey, I know that guy. And then, because, you know, it makes me look cool. So.
I don't even know. I haven't seen it yet. So,
like, YouTube is over there, and we're like, hey. At this exact time, you can see amazing shit.
Yeah. And pause it at, you know, 31, 34. All right, man. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you're not out and about in the crazy ass New York City right now, which is good, but you know, you're an hour ahead of us.
Which is lazy.
Which is what?
No, he's at home. Nobody wants to be out and around. He's not Batman. I mean, he's not. Okay, well, actually, he's not Daredevil. He's not wandering around Hell's Kitchen at night trying to deal with the problems the cops can't take care of. It's a
neighborhood, yeah.
I've been there.
Are you kidding me?
Despite like the 5 Batman fucking videos that we've had in the last 30 minutes.
Add a couple $1 billion and maybe, you know, he could pull off the Batman thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
He's got my vote. My vote.
When I went to Hell's Kitchen, I was disappointed because it was nowhere like that. It was, in fact, we met up, didn't we? We met up at Hell's Kitchen. Me, and Kagan. And I was like hanging out at this little restaurant that sold mini individual pies, and it was cool. And I was like, man, this is TV oversold me on this place. This is just okay.
Wait, that was the place right across the street from my gym?
Was it? I don't remember because there was like something involving there was a cruise or a ship or something that day. I don't remember what the whole story was, or maybe it was just Kagan that I met up.
Oh no, wasn't that for Kagan's birthday? Was that with where we did the Circle Line tour thing?
That might have been. I mean, I was just on the back end of all that because I had to get all the way down from West Point at the time. So
I think that was it. I think that was Kagan's birthday, and that's why we were over by the water because like he did the Circle Line tour around Manhattan.
Oh, that might have been it. We went to his house. I remember. Yeah, it might have been a birthday thing. Yeah.
So Tom is kind of an idiot.
Tom, I miss Tom. Tom's amazing.
Oh, come on.
Tom's awesome.
Tom is awesome. Tom trains like an animal, you know.
And he's been through some hell. That guy's tough as
yeah.
nails.
I mean, he's. I feel bad right now. He's in the high risk category with his health stuff. So he won't be.
But he's out on statins, so I mean they're practically immune to everything anyway. That's a whole different world. Dude, I'm still salty about the $20 fucking toll to get across that bridge, and this was 2014. I'm still mad about it. What the hell?
So apparently you have never been to New Jersey.
Not on purpose, but yes, I have. I mean, I'm just saying. But no, the toll. Fuck. All right, we're just rambling here. We'll leave this out of the podcast, the actual one that goes on iTunes and stuff. I mean,
let the people hear our boring rants.
Yeah. Great. Well, the ones that haven't left the stream, or we'll get this. But yeah, so man, it's great to talk to you. And anytime you want to, do this or whatever, or if you got something to plug, let us know. We'll plug the shit out of it. We owe you that much because you're part of this whole thing.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's it. The movie that comes out October 6th.
Video
on demand.
What's it called again?
Save Yourselves.
Save Yourselves.
Did you guys have you? It's really good. It stars oh my God, Sunita Mani, who is from Glow, from the show Glow.
Okay.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's by the people that did Search Party. I don't know if anybody's watched Search Party on HBO Max, but it's a lot of the same people involved in that show, and it's really, really funny. The premise is basically this hipster couple that leaves Brooklyn to disconnect from the grid and kind of get to know themselves, turn off the phones, get off the computer. They go up to a cabin up in the Catskills, and during that week is when aliens invade Earth. And all the mayhem starts. So it's really good. Won't regret it.
Yeah, we'll tell everybody to check it out too. So all right, man. Thanks, Steve.
Totally sounds fun. Especially since now there's no witness.
Well, I'm gonna tell Kagan. He's gonna come for you, dude. So
dude, bring it. Come on, Tom.
Super fight. Old school grudge match. But all right, take it care, man. Yeah, throw down. Remember those things? Fuck. All right.
Yeah, those are some good times.
I am definitely
rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole other episode. I am clicking the stop button now because otherwise we're gonna keep going. All right. Later, man. That's been great.
Oh, good talking to you guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right.